what exactly inclusion is.
Exactly.
When I talk about inclusion, it does not mean that everybody should have same resources, they should be same. No two individuals can be same. Even the twins are not same. Even a mother, daughter, father, son, they are also not same. So when we talk about inclusion, it is a feeling of being a part of the larger society.
An inclusive society aims at empowering and promoting social, economic, and political inclusion of all, irrespective of age, gender, disability, race, and origin, religion, economic, or another status. It is a society that leaves no one behind. Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, we have with us very special guest today, Miss Dhwani Jain, ma'am. She is an engineer turned social entrepreneur in pursuit of her dream to build an inclusive participatory society wherein every individual lives a life of dignity. As an empowered and self-reliant entity, she decided to quit her corporate career and running her own non-profit organization, Karma Foundation. She is also the state president, Uttar Pradesh Mentoring and Soft Skill Council, Women's India Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, her profile has so many things, so many glories, which I won't be able to explain in next few minutes. But I'm pretty sure during this conversation, we are going to learn a lot from her. So first of all, ma'am, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and actually agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much, Harsh, for such a wonderful introduction. Good evening to all the listeners. It is, in fact, my pleasure to be with all of you. And I just hope that I'll be able to share some good insights which would help all of you in your future.
Thank you, ma'am. It's our pleasure too. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is how technology can help shape a more inclusive society. Boardroom around the world are abuzz with talk of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, augmented reality, and automation. Today, innovation and technology is not about bits and bytes. It's about lives and livelihood. Remember, your first request to you is to please explain our viewers, or it's a kind of a question to you. Do you think technology can help shape a more inclusive society? If you think, then how will it go? How will it going to be?
Of course, Harsh, I think technology has touched every part of our lives, Can you imagine a single day without using a single technology?
Obviously, no.
I don't think so. Any one of us can do that. From from the moment we get up in the morning till the time we sleep, we are constantly using technology. Even while we are asleep, either we are using the ACs, we are using the heaters. There's so many gadgets we are using all the time. So I sincerely feel we have gone past the era when we could think of living a life without technology.
Right.
Yes, in the recent past, technology has made some major strides, and we have just got. I mean, we are in the phase of post-COVID period, and we saw how just because we were adapting to new technology, we could actually survive this pandemic. Imagine 10 years back if this had happened. Can you imagine how would you spend your days?
Exactly. No.
In isolation, we could not be talking to anybody, we could not be able to see people. Technology actually just came in and helped us to live a more meaningful life.
Right.
As far as building an inclusive society is concerned, first of all, we need to understand what exactly inclusion is.
Exactly.
When I talk about inclusion, it does not mean that everybody should have same resources, they should be same. No two individuals can be same. Even the twins are not same. Even a mother, daughter, father, son, they are also not same. So when we talk about inclusion, it is a feeling of being a part of the larger society. Nobody should feel as an outsider. हम कहते हैं ना, अच्छी मेहमान नवाजी क्या होती है, जब हम जो हमारे मेहमान आए उन्हें भी ऐसा प्रतीत कराएं कि वो घर के मेंबर्स हैं. So similarly, as a country, moreover, in the global world, we need to create a system where every individual, every person feels like a part of the society. And that includes both how you can give to the society and what society gives to you. So it is not a one-way thing, it is a two-way thing.
Exactly, ma'am. I think you have actually very beautifully defined the meaning of what inclusive society mean. And I'm sure the people, those who are actually watching or listening this podcast, I'm sure they must have understood what it really means in a strict sense of the word. And my next question to you is, it's a kind of, I just wanted to know your opinion. In your opinion, what do you feel? What are the biggest challenges to achieving inclusivity in society?
That's a very interesting question. Honestly, this is a utopian dream because we have a habit of competition. Since the time a child is born, we are running a rat race.
Exactly.
We have a habit of differentiating between us and them. And when we talk about the inclusiveness, that boundary has to dissolve. It has to be we, togetherness. I think this pandemic has definitely taught us that. The greatest lesson that I have learned from the pandemic is to stay positive, even in the face of adversity, and to embrace humanity. So, more than anything else, we need to be humans first. We have a habit of distinguishing ourselves like Indians, Americans, Africans, male, female, young, old, child. Let's start looking each other as individuals. Let's start respecting people for what they are. There are no strict boundaries. Challenges, the number one challenge, therefore, would be to change our own perception.
Right.
And it starts from myself. Before I tell you or anybody else to work towards building an inclusive society, I have to inculcate that habit within myself. And definitely, technology has played a major part in this, in helping us build an inclusive society. Maybe 15, 20 years back, I did my engineering. And when I did my engineering, mechanical engineering for that matter, was considered to be an all male dominated field. But due to, like you said, artificial intelligence, automation, and stuff like that, that boundary is dissolving. That male female boundary that we humans had been thinking about from so long, that is dissolving. So, definitely, technology has a major role to play.
Exactly. And my next question to you is, for the goals of making an inclusive society to be met, everyone need to do their part: government, the private sector, civil society, and the general public. The goal affects all 7 billion people on earth, and for them to be met, it is crucial that everyone is aware of and has knowledge of them. Only then can we take action and contribute to making the world a better place. So ma'am, my question to you is, what are some recommendations you have to foster awareness among people?
Number one, like I said, it has to begin with yourself.
Right.
We cannot think of changing people till we change ourselves.
No.
Number two, I'm a firm believer in the concept of karma. And when I say karma, it is not in the spiritual sense as such, but in the concept of action. So, karma comprises of thoughts, words, and actions.
Yes.
What we think, we start believing that. We start talking that, and ultimately, we start doing that. So, number one that we need to focus on is right thought process. Once we start thinking right, automatically the things start shaping towards better. And definitely, like you said, it is not the responsibility of the government alone. It is not the responsibility of private sector alone. It is not the responsibility of schools alone. It is not the responsibility of families alone. It is responsibility of each one of us. We live in an ecosystem where the smallest identity is I, myself, then comes family, school, then the society, government, world. So we have to work in that order. The change has to start coming from me, and make sure that you inspire 10 people around you and it should become a chain reaction, So it has to start from within, but make sure that it becomes a chain reaction.
Indeed, ma'am. Then you have to act like a catalyst. And I think you have very beautifully defined. I think it's very hard to disagree with you on this point. And ma'am, my next question to you is actually when I was going through your profile, this question becomes quite obvious. And I think you can better describe this because we know social workers have an immense impact on communities and the people that occupy them. Social workers can empower communities by encouraging individuals to take an active role in shaping social services, providing educational programs, and enabling economic independence in long term. So my question to you is, in your opinion, how we can motivate our youth for social work, because you are already into this domain and you are already a very big idol for all of us. So I want you to know your thoughts on this.
Honestly, I feel the youth of today is much more enlightened. They have the feeling of giving back to the society, giving back to the country. So not much needs to be done. This is what I feel, because when I was maybe 18, 19, I had no idea about so many things. But the youth of today is definitely much more enlightened. It could be due to the impact of information technology, computers. It could be the right upbringing. There can be so many factors to it, but definitely the youth is very, very motivated to give back to the country, to give back to the world. What more can be done is, see, at that age, you have to build your career. You have to focus on so many other things. Just one thing is there, that none of us is busy 24/7.
No.
So make sure every day you take out some time to give back to the Mother Earth in any which way. It could be by action. It could be a simple act of giving hope to somebody, talking nicely to people, deciding not to use plastic. There could be so many facets. If we talk about environment, let's stop using plastic. That would be my service to the society. If we talk about mental health, give an ear to somebody who's in pain. That would be your service. And definitely maintain a journal of the positive things that you do and talk about it with your fellow friends, colleagues, and everyone, because my one step of kindness would probably motivate hundreds of others.
Exactly.
So, two things: time management. Every day, make sure that you do something good. A small act of kindness, or it could be bigger the better, but a small act at least. And keep spreading the word of your kindness to motivate others.
Indeed, ma'am. Actually, I think the point you mentioned, like we need to contribute at our own level, and you can dedicate whatever the time you left means from other works, and that's the start.
I mean, you don't have to even sometimes dedicate particular time. Even in your daily life, you can inculcate habits that automatically contribute to the societal welfare.
Yes. And now my next question to you is, I want to listen your thoughts on this. How do you feel the importance and need of social entrepreneurship? And I also want to know when you started this Karma Foundation, what are the some voids you have seen, and what are the challenges you faced in your journey?
Oh my God. The journey has been very, very fulfilling, to be honest. Had been a roller coaster ride. I won't deny that. Even till date, I have my own phases of ups and downs. But yes, it has been fulfilling because I always wanted to give back to the society. Definitely, it was a difficult decision to quit my corporate career, wherein I had that stability and independence, and suddenly going to a field which is full of uncertainties. I say that social entrepreneurs, or for that matter, NGOs, are kind of veterans in working in uncertain conditions. But every life has its own challenges, has its own benefits. So we cannot compare the life of any two individuals. As far as the importance of social entrepreneurship is concerned, I would like to make a small difference between social entrepreneurship and philanthropy, because there is a lot of confusion around it. A lot of people even ask me about the same, that why did you decide to get into the field of social work at such a young age. You should have probably spent like 30 years in your in a corporate world and then gotten over it. But I feel there is where we need to differentiate between philanthropy and social entrepreneurship. Philanthropy is donating a part of your earning for a good cause, whereas social entrepreneurship is making a business for a social good.
Okay.
There's a small difference. Why I feel social entrepreneurship should be encouraged is because, I'll give you an example.
Sure.
We know leather factories, right?
Yes.
Imagine a leather factory making $1 million. Now, what they do is they would pollute the rivers, they would pollute the air, and then give 2% of their earnings in CSR. Right? So that is one way of doing things. The other thing is we develop a system wherein we do not pollute the environment or maybe minimize the pollution.
Okay.
So any day for me, stopping in the beginning is much better. What we have done, we have been so ruthless. We have actually done so much harm to the environment thinking that we can get over it later. But these changes are irreversible. So social entrepreneurship is the idea of doing good while you're doing a business. Yes, you can definitely do philanthropy along with social entrepreneurship, but more and more people should get into it. When you start a business, make sure that you follow the ethics. Ethics in the sense of human ethics, ethics in the sense of being more conscious about the impact of what you're doing on humans, on ecology, on climate, on business.
Right.
And that is the way forward.
Indeed, ma'am. And actually, you have very beautifully defined, and I'm sure this is new, which you have shared. This is the new information for all of us, the difference between social entrepreneurship and philanthropy, because most of us think like they both are very much related. And this is new. I'm sure the people those who are watching this session, they must have got the very clear understanding of it. And ma'am, moving to my last question of this session, or it's a kind of a request to you, is because today's youth are in very confused state of mind. They are living in the age of information overload. So what will be one piece of advice will be from your side to them?
I think having more information is always better. The only thing is we are sometimes not able to kind of chalk out the right information from that. So my advice always has been to follow your heart. A lot of times, I have always said that a lot of times what we do is we become the prisoner of people's thought.
Yes.
So we start defining ourselves in terms of what people think about us. What people want us to do. Starting from from your choice of education to your career choice, to your family choice, everything is what your parents say, what the teachers tell you, what your peer group is doing, what the society tells you. And at the end, what happens is we are never satisfied, we are never happy with what we are doing. And we never give our 100%.
Exactly.
So my simple advice would be to evaluate yourself very rationally, realistically. And just follow your heart, give your 100%. And honestly, I feel 20 years later, nobody should regret that I didn't do it that time. Give it a try.
This is really
if you succeed, nothing like that. Even if you fail, you learn a lesson for life. And that lesson goes on for life, So give it your 100% and stay happy. Yes.
Indeed. This is really a very valuable piece of advice from your side, ma'am. And thank you so much for joining and giving your important time. It was a kind of a healthy conversation with you over the topic, and we look forward to conduct more such sessions with you in future. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Thanks a lot for having me.
Bye, ma'am.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone.